What's up, everyone? Welcome back to King Anime Review, and for this video, I'll be reviewing Attack on Titan episode 85, titled Traitor. And this episode was a very emotional episode, and basically the Allied forces, who are, the remaining Marlians and Eren's friends who are trying to stop him, they are finally starting their, starting the final war against Eren and the Yeagerists. And that's why this episode is titled Traitor, because the Yeagerists view them as traitors because, they are Eldians from the island as well, and they're friends of Eren, and yet they're going against Eren and his plans. And so, yeah, the episode pretty much started off with the Allied forces basically thinking about their next move, and they basically were trying to figure out how they were going to get the flying boat. And they basically, said that they needed the Azumabito clan alive to help them operate the flying boat, because originally it was, Annie was talking about how why should we care about your distant relatives, Mikasa? But when Jacopo basically said, while we can basically operate the boat to some extent, pretty much, he still needs the Azumabito clan's help to do certain things, because apparently, I guess he can't get the wings to working by himself or something like that. And yeah, so they were discussing that, and they were also discussing what they were going to do about the Yeagerists, because, some of the Yeagerists are their friends, and they didn't want to have to kill any of them. And yeah, so then the general came in, and he basically tried to get Yelena to talk about where Eren was gonna go or whatever. And Yelena basically said that she changed her mind and she wants to see how things end. So if they, allow her to stay alive and take her with them, she might be able to tell them where Eren is pretty much what she said. And then the general, he basically looked at everybody. He actually started to apologize. And he apologized basically said he was wrong. And yeah, about, them, basically the sins of the past. He said that they shouldn't be held responsible for the sins of the past, basically what their ancestors did, but they wasn't around to do that stuff. And it seems like he finally came to his senses and realized that they were the true victims all along. The Eldians on the island were the true victims all along, because they were being, tortured. They seen many of their family members and friends die, and it's all because of something that they weren't even alive to experience. It's very similar to what that one girl who was talking to Gabby, the girl who tried to kill Gabby, Sasha's little sister, or she claims to be Sasha's little sister. It's very similar to what she was talking about her mom, and how she had to witness her mom getting eaten, and her mom didn't do anything that Gabby was talking about back when Gabby was fully brainwashed, and how she was talking about the stuff that the Eldians did in the past. So yeah, it's cool that it seems like he's finally realized the error in his ways. That doesn't mean he's still a terrible character. And he was talking about what Eren is trying to do right now is unforgivable. No, what Eren is doing is bad, yes. But what you did is unforgivable, because you basically started this whole thing. You and your stupidity and your brainwashing basically started all of this stuff. Just like Gene was saying, I believe it was in the last episode that Gene was saying, like, hey, if you guys never would have did all this, Eren wouldn't even be doing what he's doing right now. So yeah, that's the case with that. But then basically it was he asked everyone, or he asked basically Mikasa, Armin, Coney, and Jean, Eren's remaining true close friends. He asked them to basically just this one time just turn away, or basically just turn away. He didn't want them to get involved with the killing of the Yeagerists or whatever. And Armin was like, I'm not going to let my hands be clean. He basically refused to just stand by and do nothing. So eventually it seemed like they put together a plan where they didn't want to kill their friends. So they initially put together a plan to try to prevent anybody from dying. I'm assuming Armin came up with this plan. But basically the plan was to trick Flock into thinking that they were still on their side, that they were still on the side of the Yeagerists. So what happened was Armin and Coney went to Flock, and they were yelling at him like, hey, what happened to the cart? I mean, why didn't you chase down the cart's Titan? Gene and Unyakupo ended up getting killed or whatever. And he was like, we gotta hurry up and get the flying boat. to working or whatever, because he basically said the armored Titan and the female Titan, uh, Annie and Reiner, he basically said that they were running away. They were trying to swim across the ocean and they were escaping. And Coney and Flock, he saw right through their little act, and he realized that yeah, they might be trying to trick him. So yeah, Flock saw right through it. Also, Flock, he had a conversation with Kiyomi, but he said he was gonna basically keep them alive as long as they, did what they basically, as long as they helped the Empire and basically didn't cause any problems. Is pretty much what he's saying. He was willing to keep them alive because they did have some, skills when it comes to technology. But Flock was like, he basically doesn't need that stuff. So if they get out of line or if they start acting up, he is willing to kill them despite the information and the technology that they have. And the Osmobito clan lady was like, she basically, because Flock was talking about how things are going to change or whatever, and she was like, yeah, things aren't going to really change that much. Basically, the world is just going to get smaller, and you'll still continue to kill one another. And Flock basically said, yeah, he was thinking that might be, he was starting to think that might be the case too. But Flock, he's still very determined to make sure the entire world outside the island gets wiped out, because he's very and back to what I was saying about about Eren and the difference between Eren and Reiner in the last episode. In my last review, I was pointing out the differences between Eren and Reiner, because there is one small similarity, but for the most part they're very different. And the main difference between them is the fact that Eren started off as a victim. Everything he's doing right now is because he's doing everything he's doing right now because he wants to protect, and he wants to protect the people he loves and care about. And he thinks that since the entire world seemingly, or most of the world, views him and his people as devils, and they want to continue to kill them and try to wipe them out, Eren thinks that the only way to protect his homeland and his people is by wiping out the entire world. Now, obviously, that's very evil, and committing genocide is obviously very evil. And not only is he wiping out the people who are trying to attack him and the people who wants to continue to, attack his people and kill his people, not only is he wiping out those people, but he's also wiping out innocent babies and children and stuff who have nothing to do with what's going on, and they have nothing to do with, the attacks and stuff like that. So, yeah, Eren, he's doing a very evil thing, and Flock is supporting this evil thing that Eren is doing. But both of them are not as bad as Reiner. And, Reiner, because he was never a victim. And just like Gene said to the general in the last episode, I believe, basically everything that's happening right now, it wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for what Marley did. And the general, he basically apologized to Mikasa and Eren's friends about the stuff he was saying in the last episode. And it seems like he finally realized that he's wrong, and him and Marley are the ones who were in the wrong. And yeah, so he apologized to them. But he did say what Eren is doing right now is unforgivable. However, what he failed to mention is, and he probably failed to realize, that, yeah, Eren, his actions are very evil, and you could say unforgivable, whatever. But what he did is unforgivable as well, because he started this whole thing. Just like Gene was talking about in the last episode, if he and Marley didn't send, if they didn't send the so-called warriors to attack the island and send all them Titans to attack the island, none of this stuff will be happening right now. Eren's mom wouldn't have been eaten, and none of this stuff will be happening right now. So, yeah, the people on the island were the initial victims of the entire story. So, and that's the key difference between Reiner, because Reiner was never a victim. He pretty much was just rejected by his dad, and he just wanted to be a hero. But everything he did was for selfish reasons. Whereas Eren, the stuff that he's doing right now is, you could say, for selfless reasons, because he wants to protect his friends and his family. So that's why he's doing these evil things. But everything Reiner did was for his own selfish goals and his own selfish reasons. Whereas Eren is trying to protect the people he love and care about. And Eren was a victim initially. And same thing with Flock. Flock, he was a victim initially. So that's the difference between Eren and Flock and the Yeagerists. and, you know, Reiner and the Marleyans. Like I said, the Marleyans are the worst characters in the series in terms of morals. They're obviously the most morally wrong and worst characters in the series. Even the people like Unyakapon, his nation don't seem to be as, I don't think they did anything really bad that we know of. You know, they were attacked by Marley as well. So Marley seems to be the worst characters in terms of like morals. They seem to be the most evil characters in the series. And the general of Marley, he at least he admitted to some extent that he was wrong. But the fact that he said Eren is unforgivable and he completely failed to mention the fact that, or seemingly realized the fact that he's unforgivable and what Marley did is unforgivable because they started this whole thing. That's kind of, you know, that's pretty much bad. So he's still a trash character. The general, he's still a trash character, a very evil character at that. So anyways, so what ended up happening was Coney and Armin, they ran to where the flying boat was, and they were trying to convince their former friends, or, you know, their friends, to basically take off the explosives off the boat because they had put explosives on the boat because they heard that, you know, that Coney and Armin betrayed them and that they were working with the Marleyans. But Coney and Armin denied that, and they tried to get them to, you know, basically remove the explosives. But Flock ended up, he started shooting, and they basically found out that, you know, Flock found out that they were trying to trick him and stuff like that. And then Flock came out of the building. At first, he was held down by one of the Osmobito clan members, Kiyomi, the lady who he captured. And then he he basically escaped the building, and he basically yelled at everybody that, you know, that they are traitors, that, you know, Armin, Mikasa, Coney, and Jean are traitors, and that they are basically attacking. And then that's when Coney basically shot and killed his former friends, the two guys who were trying to detonate the explosives on the boat. And then Mikasa, she came and she saved the Osmobito clan members, and then they all went to a basement to basically start hiding so that Reiner and Annie can transform into their Titans. And then once they did that, they started to kill the Yeagerists. Flock is it seemed like Flock is still alive for right now, but in the next episode he's probably gonna die. So that's the case with that. Flock, I think he is a good villain. You could call him a villain. However, his actions are way more understandable than Reiner's, for example. And Reiner is definitely not a hero. He's not a good guy. I don't care what anybody says. Don't be fooled because he's working, because he's helping out and he's trying to take out Eren right now. Don't be fooled. Reiner is still one of the most evil characters in the series and one of the most selfish characters in the series. But at least he's starting to realize that himself, because he keeps on talking about how this, like, it seems like he actually hates himself. So at least he's starting to realize how bad of a character he is himself. And hopefully he might improve. Who knows? But anyways, with all of that being said, yeah, that's what happened in Attack on Titan episode 85. It was a very emotional episode. A lot of crying. A lot of suspense. The music was great. The art and animation was great. The story was great. And the war against Eren has begun. And yeah, this episode was just an overall fantastic episode. So with that being said, 10 out of 10 for story, 10 out of 10 for art, and 10 out of 10 for animation. This was another 10 out of 10 amazing episode of Attack on Titan. And I'm looking forward to the next one. So with that being said, if you guys like the video, please drop a like. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and clicking that channel notification bell to be notified on all my future videos. And also comment in the comment section below and let me know what you thought of my review and of the video. End of the episode in the comment section below. And share the video all over the internet. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.